Hello there, welcome to Star Wars Timeline. Guys, we're reviewing the sixth and the final episode of the Kenobi show. Although, mark my words right now, I'm gonna foresee the future and tell you guys that before the end of this year, we're gonna hear the announcement of the second season of the Kenobi, because fans seem to be relishing it. It has generated a lot of hype, a lot of fan excitement, and I think we will get season 2. This is before even getting to the review. Obviously, this is going to be full spoiler on video, so please, if you guys haven't watched this episode, I urge you to go watch it first, then come back and we'll have a friendly discussion. Drop your comments in the video section below, and I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. Anyway, guys, what did I think of this particular episode? First, I gotta tell you that for me, any story, whether it's a Star Wars show or a feature film or a book, it's not about the ending. It's about the journey. You know, even my favorite video games, when I get to the end, if it's somewhat disappointing and not what I expected to see, it doesn't hinder the entire experience for me because it's always been about the journey. And this is what I gotta have to say about this episode, that it doesn't make the show better or worse for me. How did it stick to its landing? Was it a successful conclusion, or was it something that left a lot to be desired? Let me start off with the positives. I'm not gonna go over the entire story of this episode. Obviously, you guys saw what happened there if you're here watching this video, but let me start off with the positive things. What are the good parts? It's always Ewan McGregor, it's always Lyra Blair, and it's always Jewel Edgerton. You know, these three actors that I enjoyed the most, and plus other actors as well, right? Jimmy Smits as well, Moses Ingram. They're all doing a decent job performing whatever lines and dialogues they were giving, but specifically Ewan McGregor and Lyra Blair. I mean, they nailed their respective roles. He feels like Kenobi in every shot. He brings a lot of gravitas to the show. His emotional component that you always seek in your kind of adventures, you see it in his performance. And little Lyra Blair, I mean, she's fantastic. She has all the spunk, all the charisma of Leia that we see the future lady that she will grow into. Just wonderful stuff across the board. I gotta say, it was consistent throughout the entire 6 episodes of the show. I was very happy there. What I didn't expect in this particular episode, because my excitement for the show kind of deflated through with episode 4 and 5. I was like, oh, okay, let me just watch this final episode, see where it all leads to. But there were some unexpected, heartfelt moments there. I really enjoyed that at the end of the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, when we see half of Vader's face, Anakin's voice comes back for a second, right? We've seen something similar before in the Rebels show. It's done here again. You might argue and say, well, it's kind of predictable. Predictable or not, I just thought that particular part of the scene was very effective, where Anakin tells him, look, you're not responsible. It's as if Anakin's good side emerges on the surface just for a little moment, and he gives Kenobi that solace, that peace of mind, that he says, look, you're not responsible for my downfall. You didn't destroy Anakin Skywalker. I have. And I felt it was such an effective scene there, and it wasn't just a tug, a play on your emotions, like, oh my god, do you remember, you know, Revenge of the Sith, their previous duel? It doesn't rely on the previous content to make itself very strong. And I was taken aback for a moment, guys. I'll be honest with you. I was like, whoa, I wish we had more episodes and scenes like this throughout the show, but nonetheless, very effective stuff. And obviously, we see Hayden Christensen's face there, and you recognize it's him, but the makeup is so good that you also recognize the Vader that we see at the end of the Return of the Jedi. That particular moment was immaculately done. And, you know, just Kenobi there on the verge of tears. Oh, man, I'm getting emotional just talking about this. And it's kind of a little bit off-putting that the rest of the show didn't have this high note emotional component to it, that it was very offbeat, on and off. There were moments there that were supposed to be tense, I didn't care for, and other moments like this, which were very unexpected, but suddenly it brings all the emotions into it. And I have to say and repeat this again, guys, I don't think that it was due to the fact that it's playing on nostalgic feelings, which I never like in my stories. I don't think any story, whether it's dealing with familiar characters or a new cast, should kind of harken back like, oh, by the way, do you remember in the past? Let us bring those particular lines of dialogues again, or those references or Easter eggs, where perhaps the audience will feel something. I don't feel that's an effective way to tell a story. What I also enjoyed, it was also very unexpected for me, is aside from Moses Ingram, right? Many of you guys saw my videos that I instantly made right away, defending her and getting behind her, saying that, look, all the fans we back you up. We're with you. We are enjoying the fact that you're in this show, and all those racist and crazy remarks, they don't belong in Star Wars. But aside from that, we can still critique the role, right? And for me, Reva's character was practically non-existent. She's there, she's delivering the lines, she is supposed to like emoting to things, but I just don't think that character was particularly well written. Surprise. In this particular episode, finally Reva emerges as character. I really enjoyed her breakdown. When she was about to strike young Luke, she sees herself. And I just felt it was a very effective cinematic trick to show she sees herself. And what she's really struggling with, it's not fulfilling Vader's commands or destroying all the past like Kylo Ren was saying, no, we gotta get rid of the past. What she is really fighting really is herself. That kind of like survivor's guilt, right? That if you guys know a little bit about the war veterans, that they feel all of their comrades have fallen in battle, and now they feel this guilt that they're the only ones who remained, who survived. And it's a very real thing. And that's what she sees here. This little boy who is a potential Padawan or a youngling, and she sees like, why should, he remain? I will erase all of this past, and maybe I'll kill myself at the end. But she's not able to carry that through. And her good side wins over. And you understand that she was not fully converted to the dark side. I really like that. I like the reconciliation, how she brings the little boy back and she sits there in front of the Owens, right? And she's there confronting Kenobi, and Kenobi helps her to literally get up from the ground. And he said, now you have been liberated. You have been liberated from your hatred and your anger and all that pain and anguish. Very effective scene. And once again, it's a very off-putting and annoying, honestly, when the rest of the show can't be this good. I was like, oh man, come on. Why do I have to pick and choose as fans? Maybe I'm greedy. I don't know. Why can't the rest of this episode, why can't the rest of the show be this good? And the ending also, I really enjoyed that it didn't try to be, hey, by the way, in the next season, let us leave you with a little bit of cliffhanger, or a little like after the credits kind of little shot of promises of the future. No, it ends on there's a finality to the show, and it ends in a very quiet moment of when Kenobi is standing there in front of Lars Owen. He says, no, the future will resolve itself. Just let him be a boy for a little bit. And when he turns around to leave, Lars Owen, still being a very like stubborn man that he is because he has to protect and defend Luke, he says, would you like to meet him? Very unexpected little scene that, for me, it makes all the difference in the world. And when Kenobi approaches Luke, all he needs to say is hello there. And I enjoyed the fact that we don't see a little exchange between them. It is left to the audience's imagination. This is what a powerful, effective storytelling does. It gives you a hint of a scene or what is supposed to happen, and it films it so well, and the actors do their jobs, that the rest is left for your imagination, and it makes that particular scene your own. Because the way I will interpret that exchange is going to be very different from how you see it, and that's the beauty of storytelling. Anyway, I felt that this episode was quite better than I expected it to be. I honestly went into it a little bit cynical, a little bit jaded. I was like, oh man, this is not going to be good. It's going to suck or something like this. And, it stuck to its landing, and it wasn't bad at all. I really enjoyed the quietness of it, and Kenobi riding into the sunset of Tatooine, so to speak. And of course, Qui-Gon needed to be there. He was, to me, more than an Easter egg. He was like a little moment there that is given to fans who are patient, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is constantly calling to Qui-Gon. And finally, not only Qui-Gon Jinn is there, he says, no, I always was there. You was just not ready to see me. Meaning that psychologically, mentally, spiritually, you were broken. I was reaching out to you as well, but you didn't see me. That's a clever dialogue line that's very clever to do. And of course, Liam Neeson looked wonderful, and he's the reason I would not be against season 2. Even though I don't have crazy kind of feelings about the show overall, I would like to see season 2. See what they improve upon, see how they go from there, what other cool stories they could tell with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now the bad parts. My biggest issue with this particular show, and with majority of a Star Wars live action, to varying degrees. I still feel that Mandalorian overall is probably the best Star Wars live action show. This one, I would put maybe a grade above, maybe on the same level as the Book of Boba Fett. I don't find that Deborah Chow has the necessary skills to elevate TV show above average and make it feel special, like we've come to expect with the best of Star Wars. Whether you come from it from the prequel era and you're a huge prequel fan, and those are the center of your, cinematic universe, or whether you're old school fan like myself who reveres the original trilogy, Star Wars always felt special to us. Star Wars was, there's the rest of the movies, and there is Marvel Universe and all the comic book films, and then there is Star Wars. I mean, we're talking about Indiana Jones, the pinnacle of adventure films. When we're talking about space horror sci-fi, Alien franchise, the pinnacle of that genre, right? Star Wars was also at the height of its kind of like genres, and it just didn't feel this way. It felt very average. The writing and the directing felt very predictable, boring a lot of times. I'm sorry, guys. And, it translates into this episode as well, where it has a very incomprehensible structure. And I'm just going to give you one breakdown, one scene here without giving you, going over the entire show. Because chances are, if you enjoyed it, if you liked it, you probably don't want to hear me, like, just trashing the show for 6 episodes long. And I wouldn't do that. I just don't feel it's effective. So there is no hyperdrive on this civilian vessel that all the insurgents are leaving, right? And throughout the episode, they kind of sit down. They're being barraged by this Imperial destroyer, and they're contemplating, okay, what is our next plan of attack? Dude, are you kidding me? This is an Imperial Star Cruiser, Star Destroyer. Let me just go back a little bit. And once again, this is not nostalgia speaking. This is not me comparing to something what I like towards something that I dislike. It's just effective filmmaking. Go back to episode 4. When Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi are forced to dodge those Imperial destroyers. And right from the beginning, Han Solo tells them, look, guys, if you're hiring me, you're hiring the best ship in the galaxy. You have not heard about the Millennium Falcon? He says that he can outrun big gunships. And once he goes outside of the planet's orbit, right, he have a split moment decision to break free and go into hyperspace. There is no moment of deliberation there. There's like, oh no, we're being chased there by the Imperial Star Destroyer. What are we gonna do next? They just bolt out of that Tatooine space, and they're out there on their way. Here, this ship is just casually flying around, and where it's supposed to be a tense moment, I don't understand the decision making behind this. I don't understand what Deborah Chow is trying to tell us here. This is a tense moment. They're just sitting there. Oh, what's the next decision? Once again, it doesn't sit well with me that Kenobi parts with Leia so easily because she is his charge. But okay, let's buy it for a second that he says, I have to separate us from myself. You guys will go your route. I'll go my way. I will lure Vader in. Okay, that's sort of kind of understandable. But then there's another thing to it. Reva, she's literally stabbed through her chest. It's not like a cauterizing wound. It's not her arm being chopped. She's literally stabbed through her chest. And a Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi Master, he dies within a matter of seconds. Reva, somehow, and we don't see a passage of time here at all. This episode 6 takes literally place right after episode 5. It's in the moment. I don't know how she gets up, how she recovers, and how she gets to Tatooine faster than Kenobi does. Kenobi makes all of these detours, and he still makes it to Tatooine on time to kind of like challenge her a little bit about Luke, even though he's there. She already tries to kill him, but she doesn't. Anyway, he's still there. It's just that passage of time, the planning of sequence of events. It doesn't make any freaking sense to me, guys. And the one thing that I do want to mention, and sorry, this is, I'm going to be an apologist here a little bit. I'm going to step into sacred ground. We need to discuss the Vader on Kenobi duel. I suspect that if you're a type of fan who enjoys the comic books, you enjoy the video games, The Force Unleashed, you enjoy these like super powered Force Unleashed kind of like skills, and Vader completely unmatched, unrivaled by anyone else, and this kind of like sort of grandeur in display of Force abilities, probably you might have liked. But the whole affair to me looked like it's taken out of a video game. Seriously, guys. I did not enjoy all of the throwing rocks all of a sudden. I did not enjoy Kenobi being stuck under the rocks. And then it's one moment your character is at the lowest of their emotional and physical prowess, and in the next moment, they're overcome. There's no place in there. There's no pacing. There's no moments there where characters kind of learn and come to their full fruition of their abilities. It just all happens on moments at moments notice because the plot needs to move forward. Because hey, suddenly Kenobi, he's here at the lowest. He is doesn't know what to do, but now no, he's gonna get his power back. It's very childish to me because I always felt that action needs to inform and serve the story. What you're doing with an action sequence, you are still telling a story. And in this particular story, in this particular duel, all you see is exposition of power. You see Vader unleashed, you see Kenobi come back to his full power. Even lines of dialogue like, Kenobi, I see that your strength has returned, but also there is a weakness. Like, I don't understand where it's going. I don't understand what she's trying to do with these characters. It's all very surface level entertainment. It's all there. What you see basically is what you get. And that one little scene that I reminded you guys at the end is the only one that I felt was a narrative moment in this duel, where Kenobi and Anakin have that little exchange, and Kenobi fully realizes what has become of this young man. He says, goodbye, and I'll leave now. I wanted the entire scene to be like this. When we saw the scene of the Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul, I would say it is superior in every sense. Maybe it's not fair to compare them, but I will, guys. Because when I went to see The Phantom Menace in theaters, I also did not enjoy that movie at all. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the directing, and the final duel, it didn't change my mind about the entire film, but it was kind of the only saving grace for me. Because not only was a blistering fast, straight to the point action scene, it was also very narrative. You understood what is happening there. Before fans years later started giving this interpretation, it's the duel of the fates, it's which Jedi Master will die and which will survive, and it's the one that will later on influence and train Anakin Skywalker. Okay, we get that. But even if you put that later interpretation away, it's just these two Jedi versus this one villain, and how just the whole pacing of it, how one Jedi, who is Qui-Gon Jinn, who goes into it with a full awareness that he might die, that he might give up his life for the greater good. And what Obi-Wan Kenobi fights for in this scene, you see it, it's very clear. He doesn't fight to defeat his opponent, to kill Darth Maul. He fights because he makes a promise to his master, right? Even at the end, when he defeats Maul, what the icing on that cake at the end is not the fact that he says, no, master, I won, a victory, we won. No, Obi-Wan Kenobi tells him that, okay, master, I will train Anakin as I make a promise to you. So is that bond, is that relationship between the Jedi and how they address adversity, I felt was a lot more effective. Versus this Vader versus Kenobi scene, which I didn't even enjoy choreography that much, to be honest with you guys. All those jumps around and Kenobi has to roll out of the way and he's standing on one knee. I don't like it. It's not my type, not my aesthetics. It's just, I didn't feel any kind of narrative force behind it. Anyway, so what do I think about this episode and what I think about the show in the end? This episode turned out to be a little better than what I expected it to be, and all the quiet and small bits there that I liked, I have to take them. As somebody who enjoys Star Wars, as somebody who's a fan, I'm not going to be jaded about a show that I don't think is good because others are enjoying it. That's the beauty of Star Wars. Something that I didn't see in there. And I'm by no means a professional film critic or professional filmmaker. Could I have done a job like Deborah Chow and the crew is doing? Hell no. And I recognize it. I could critique it all day, but other fans, including my boys, Star Wars on High and Star Wars Complete, they're loving this stuff. Am my opinion better than theirs? Of course not. We're just different. We come with a different set of expectations. We come with a different set of things that we're looking for. And to be honest with you guys, I wasn't even that critical or analytical as I'm watching each episode. I was just like, okay, give it to me. Show me what you've got in this show. I don't need to completely relate and fit like a glove with the original trilogy. I don't need it to play on the most important story tropes from the prequels. This is a show in front of me. Let me just watch these 6 episodes and see what they're all about. I saw them. I judged them. I will perhaps revise my opinion a little bit in the future, just like I did with prequels, but I'm not going to probably deviate from my first raw initial response that much. I would give the show overall a very generous 6 out of 10. It's okay. It doesn't rise above average, but neither it is completely horrible, parody on Star Wars. Like some Twitters are already going insane over this. Like there's so much toxicity and jadedness out there. Like, oh my God, they're ruining Star Wars. No, they're not. You know how they're not ruining Star Wars? I don't enjoy it. A person sitting right next to me is relishing in it. And I can only imagine 6-year-old or 10-year-old girls looking at the show and looking at young Leia, and 20 years from now, they will not talk about the quality of filmmaking, cinematography, the meaning behind each shot. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, oh my God, remember this little Leia from that show, Kenobi, that came out in 2022? Oh my God, I have so many happy memories there. She was a great influence on me. This is the most crucial and important point when we're discussing Star Wars or anything else. You have critique on one side of it, and you have emotional response on the other. It's what makes a show feel to us, right? What are feelings, what kind of like thoughts that it invokes at us is the most important component. Anyway, this show gets a 6 out of 10. For me, it's cool. I probably won't rewatch it. I have not rewatched any single Star Wars live action show. I'm glad it exists, guys. I'm happy it's there, and I would be down for Kenobi season 2 just to see where it goes. Hey, maybe I'll like it more than this time around. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Please let me know what you think of this show, what you think of this episode. I hope I wasn't too harsh, but I was being very honest. I just think it's an average show. Let me know if you completely disagree, and I'll respond to all of you guys. Take care, everyone.